The fall happened so fast, no one even had time to react. One moment Tracy Quartermaine was confidently riding through the stables, proud, stubborn, and completely in control like always. And the next, her horse suddenly reared. The saddle slipped, and Tracy Quartermaine was thrown hard to the ground. For a split second, everything went silent. The powerful Quartermaine matriarch, a woman who never backs down from a fight, was lying in the dirt. And the shocking accident was only the beginning of a day that would shake Port Charles in ways no one saw coming. Because while Tracy struggled to get back on her feet, secrets were about to explode. Lives were about to change. And somewhere else in Port Charles, Jason Morgan was quietly making a decision that could cost him everything. At the Quartermaine stables, panic quickly turned into relief. Despite the violent fall, Tracy slowly pushed herself up, brushing dirt off her riding jacket with her usual sharp pride. Of course, she insisted she was fine. Typical Tracy. Even after a dangerous accident, she refused to show weakness. Still, the fall seemed to shake something loose in her mind. Instead of heading back home, Tracy made an unexpected decision. She wanted to talk to Laura Collins. And when Tracy Quartermaine suddenly wants a serious conversation, it usually means trouble is brewing somewhere in Port Charles. Later that day, Tracy finally finds Laura. And from the moment they sit down, it's clear Tracy didn't come just for casual conversation. Her eyes are sharp. Her tone is serious. And Laura immediately senses something is coming. But what exactly does Tracy want? Is she concerned about Lulu Spencer's complicated love life? Or is she digging for information about Gent Sidwell, the mysterious man whose influence has been quietly spreading through Port Charles? Because lately Sidwell has been making demands, dangerous ones. And Tracy Quartermaine doesn't like feeling powerless. Not one bit. In fact, there's a good chance Tracy wants leverage. The kind of leverage that could shift the balance of power in Port Charles. But Laura isn't the only person having a tense conversation today. Because across town, another heated discussion is about to unfold. Laura soon finds herself face to face with Ezra Boyle. And things immediately turn tense. Ezra has his own strong opinions about Sidwell and the growing pressure he's putting on people throughout the city. But Laura isn't backing down. Not today. The two clash over Sidwell's demands, his motives, and the dangerous ripple effects his actions could create. Because if Sidwell keeps pushing, Port Charles could soon find itself in the middle of a much bigger conflict. And Laura knows it. But she isn't the only one dealing with emotional turmoil today. Because at Alexis Davis' house, a very different kind of conversation is about to begin. Molly Lansing Davis wasn't expecting visitors. Especially not Cody Bell. But when the door opens, there he is, holding a cheerful gift basket. Trying his best to bring a little lightness into a situation that has been anything but easy. Cody walks in with a playful grin and jokingly introduces himself as Dr. Bell. He claims he's there to check on his patient. And for a moment Molly almost laughs. But underneath the humor, there's something heavy in the air. Because Molly has been carrying a painful truth for a long time. And today, she finally decides to say it out loud. Molly admits something she's been afraid to say before. She worries that if Cody truly understands what she's going through, he might walk away. Because her medical condition isn't something simple. Her battle with endometriosis has been brutal, painful, exhausting, and emotionally devastating. For Molly, the diagnosis didn't just affect her health. It shattered dreams she once believed were guaranteed. Dreams about family, about motherhood, about the future she once imagined. And the hardest part, she knows Cody wants children, which means telling him the truth could change everything between them. Still, Molly decides she can't hide it anymore. So she opens up completely. With quiet honesty, Molly explains just how serious her condition really is. The endometriosis has damaged her chances of having children. And after everything she's been through, she's no longer sure she even wants to keep trying. Because the emotional wounds go deeper than most people realize. especially after what happened with Christina Corinthos Davis. Christina once tried to carry a baby for Molly. It was supposed to be an act of love, a hopeful solution, but instead, it turned into a heartbreaking failure. The loss left scars on everyone involved, and Molly isn't sure she can survive another emotional disaster like that. So now she's made a difficult decision. At least for now, she doesn't want to have children, which leaves Cody facing a choice he never expected to make. Can he still imagine a future with Molly? If the life he pictured may never happen, the answer could change both of their lives forever. But while Molly and Cody struggle with painful truths, another shocking discovery is unfolding across town. And it all begins with one small object inside a handbag. At General Hospital, Stella Henry notices something unusual. Jordan Ashford's purse is slightly open. And inside, Stella spots a pregnancy test box. The discovery stops her cold. Because this isn't just gossip. This is a life-changing secret. And Stella isn't the type to ignore something like that. Not when family is involved. So she decides to confront Jordan directly. And the conversation that follows becomes far more intense than either woman expected. Stella corners Jordan at the hospital. Her voice is calm, but her eyes demand answers. Jordan tries to stay composed. But Stella already knows too much. There's no point pretending. Eventually, Jordan admits the truth. Yes, she took the test. Yes, pregnancy is a real possibility. But what Jordan says next shocks Stella even more. Because Jordan reveals something unexpected. She isn't sure she wants to keep the baby. And suddenly, the conversation takes a very serious turn. Stella's reaction is immediate. She presses Jordan with tough questions. Is she really considering an abortion? Has she thought about what this decision means? And more importantly, what about the fathers? Because if this baby is connected to Curtis Ashford, the situation could explode into a full-blown family crisis. Jordan insists she hasn't made a final decision yet. But Stella makes it clear. This isn't something that can stay secret forever. Sooner or later, everyone will find out. And when they do, the fallout could be devastating. But believe it or not, Jordan's pregnancy news is already causing chaos elsewhere. Because Portia Robinson is absolutely furious. When she learns about the pregnancy possibility, she completely loses control. Portia knows exactly how messy this situation could become. Especially with Curtis at the center of it all. If Jordan is carrying Curtis's baby, everything could change overnight. Relationships, trust, family dynamics. Portia sees the storm forming and she hates it. But what she doesn't realize yet is that Curtis himself is about to experience a moment that could turn his world upside down. And it begins with a quiet conversation. One that seems harmless at first. Curtis Ashford sits down with Trina Robinson. The two share a rare, peaceful moment together. Curtis offers encouragement, hope, and reassurance about the future. He reminds Trina that life doesn't always go according to plan. But sometimes the unexpected paths lead to the best outcomes. It's a touching father-daughter bonding moment. One that feels warm, hopeful, and full of love. But what Curtis doesn't know is that his own future may already be shifting beneath his feet. Because somewhere in Port Charles, a secret is growing. And if that secret comes out, Curtis's entire life could change overnight. Meanwhile, across towns, two men are preparing for something much darker. And their conversation could set the stage for deadly consequences. Jason Morgan has come to sunny Corinthos with important news. News that could change everything. And Sunny knows immediately that whatever Jason is about to say, it won't be simple. Because when Jason Morgan looks this serious, danger is never far away. Jason sits down across from Sunny and gets straight to the point. He's leaving Port Charles. Not forever, but long enough for things to calm down. And he won't be leaving alone. Britt Westbourne is going with him. Jason explains that Britt needs time. Time to deal with a medical situation. Time to stay hidden while a critical medication is being reverse-engineered. Canada will be their temporary refuge. But before Jason disappears, there's unfinished business he refuses to ignore. Because one man still stands in his way. Ross Cullum. And Jason Morgan is already thinking about how to eliminate that problem permanently. Sonny listens carefully. He understands Jason's reasoning. But he also knows exactly what Jason is suggesting. Because when Jason talks about solving a problem like Cullum, there's only one meaning behind those words. Jason intends to kill him before leaving Port Charles. And that decision could ignite a chain reaction of violence no one can control. But Sonny doesn't immediately try to stop him. Instead, the two men share a quiet moment of understanding. Years of loyalty. Years of battles. Years of having each other's backs. And in that moment, they make a promise to each other. No matter what happens next, they will always protect one another. But as loyal as Jason and Sonny are, the war with Ross Cullum is far from over. And Jason may be walking straight into a trap. Jason Morgan has faced danger his entire life. Assassins. Mob wars. Betrayals. But the situation with Ross Cullum feels different. Because this time Jason knows something most people in Port Charles don't. Cullum isn't just another enemy. He's unpredictable, calculating, and possibly already preparing a move of his own. Which means Jason's plan to eliminate him before leaving for Canada might not go as smoothly as he hopes. Still, Jason has never been the type to walk away from a threat. If Cullum is a problem, Jason intends to solve it. Permanently. But while Jason prepares for a deadly confrontation, elsewhere in Port Charles, emotions are reaching a boiling point. Back at Alexis Davis' house, the mood between Molly and Cody has shifted. The playful joking from earlier is gone. Now the room feels heavy with truths. Molly has laid everything on the table. Her painful medical struggles. Her infertility fears. Her emotional scars from the failed surrogacy attempt with Christina. And now the silence between her and Cody feels almost unbearable. Because Molly knows what Cody has always dreamed about. A family. Children. A future that includes laughter and chaos and little footsteps running through the house. But Molly isn't sure she can give him that life. And she refuses to pretend everything will magically work out. So she asks him the question that's been haunting her thoughts. If she can't have children, will Cody still stay? For a moment Cody doesn't answer. And that silence says more than words ever could. But then Cody finally speaks. He admits something honest. Yes, he's always imagined having kids. But life doesn't always give people the exact future they expect. What matters more to him is who he's sharing that future with. And right now, that person is Molly. His answer doesn't magically erase Molly's pain. But it gives her something she desperately needed. Hope. Still, both of them know the road ahead won't be easy. And their relationship will face more challenges than they ever imagined. But for now, they choose to face the uncertainty together. Meanwhile at General Hospital, Jordan Ashford is still reeling from Stella's confrontation. The pregnancy possibility is already overwhelming. But Stella's intense questioning only made everything feel heavier. Jordan tries to focus on her work, hoping to push the situation out of her mind. But Stella isn't finished. Not even close. Because Stella believes family matters must be addressed head-on. Especially when Curtis might be involved. Eventually Stella makes one thing very clear. If Jordan really is pregnant, Curtis deserves to know the truth. Jordan's expression tightens instantly. Because that conversation could change everything. And not necessarily for the better. Curtis has already rebuilt parts of his life after so many emotional battles. If this news drops into the middle of his world, it could shatter the fragile balance he's finally achieved. Still, secrets like this rarely stay buried for long in Port Charles. And Jordan knows that sooner or later, the truth will surface. Across town, Portia Robinson is still struggling to process what she's heard. Jordan possibly being pregnant is bad enough. But the possibility that Curtis could be the father, that's a nightmare scenario for Portia. Because Curtis has already been through so much. Their relationship has faced betrayal, misunderstandings, and emotional scars. Just when things finally started to stabilize, another bomb threatens to explode. Portia paces the room, frustration boiling inside her. She knows Jordan. She knows how complicated Jordan's past with Curtis truly is. And if a baby is involved, nothing will ever be simple again. Portia desperately wants to believe the situation won't spiral out of control. But deep down, she has a terrible feeling. The storm is already forming, and it may be impossible to stop. Meanwhile, Curtis continues enjoying his peaceful conversation with Trina. He talks about resilience, about learning from mistakes, about believing in second chances. Trina listens carefully, clearly comforted by her father's wisdom. For Curtis, this moment feels like proof that life is finally moving forward. But fate has a strange sense of timing in Port Charles. Because while Curtis is talking about hope, a secret tied directly to him may already be growing. And once that truth emerges, the stability he's worked so hard to build could vanish overnight. Elsewhere in the city, Tracy Quartermaine's earlier riding accident is still on people's minds. But Tracy herself seems far more focused on something else entirely. Her conversation with Laura Collins planted new ideas in her mind. Ideas about strategy, about influence, about powers. Because Tracy Quartermaine has spent her entire life navigating the dangerous social battlefield of Port Charles. And lately, the rise of Gent Sidwell has been bothering her more and more. Sidwell's influence is spreading. His demands are growing bolder. And Tracy refuses to sit quietly while someone else tries to control the game. So if gathering leverage is what it takes, Tracy is more than willing to play dirty. Because one thing about Tracy Quartermaine has never changed. She never loses without a fight. But the most dangerous developments of the day are happening at Sonny Corintho's house. Jason and Sonny continue their intense discussion. Jason outlines the situation with Ross Cullum. Every detail, every threat, every possible outcome. Sonny understands the stakes immediately. Cullum isn't someone who simply walks away from conflict. If Jason leaves town while Cullum is still active, the danger could follow him. Or worse, Cullum could strike Sonny's territory while Jason is gone. That's why Jason believes the only real solution is to eliminate Cullum before leaving Port Charles. Sonny doesn't like the idea. But he also knows Jason rarely makes decisions like this without careful thought. The two men have survived countless battles together, and their loyalty runs deeper than most people understand. So eventually, they make a pact. No matter what happens next, they will always have each other's backs. If Jason faces danger, Sonny will step in. If Sonny becomes a target, Jason will return without hesitation. Their bond is unbreakable. But even the strongest alliances can't control every variable. And Ross Cullum may already be preparing a move Jason never saw coming. Because enemies in Port Charles rarely wait patiently. They watch. They listen. They plan. And if Cullum suspects Jason is coming for him, he might decide to strike first. Which raises a terrifying possibility. Jason Morgan might be walking straight into a deadly trap. As night falls over Port Charles, the city feels strangely calm. But beneath that calm surface, everything is shifting. Molly and Cody are redefining their future. Jordan is carrying a secret that could explode an entire family. Portia is bracing for emotional fallout. Curtis is unknowingly standing on the edge of a life-changing revelation. Tracy is quietly plotting her next power move. And Jason Morgan is preparing for a confrontation that could end in bloodshed. Every path is leading toward something bigger. Something explosive. something that will leave lasting consequences across Port Charles. Because in this town, secrets never stay hidden forever. And when the truth finally comes out, someone's world is always turned upside down.